Hey guys, and thanks for joining me for yet another video. In this episode, we're going to be exploring how to make stewed fish. I'm going to be using some basa fish fillets in this presentation, and I'm going to be walking you through the steps of the frying process straight into having it stewed. So let's not waste any more time and get ourselves totally into this menu. So here I have some fresh fish. It's been washed in vinegar and yeah, it's just been sitting here to dry. The type of fish is a basa steak fillet. To that, I'm gonna be adding, I have some homemade green seasoning here, so I'm gonna add a full tablespoon of that. To that, I'm gonna be adding a full tablespoon of that as well. I'm gonna add some garlic powder, half a teaspoon, some ground white pepper, half a teaspoon, some onion powder, half a teaspoon, some rosemary, half a teaspoon, some parsley flakes, we're putting half a teaspoon as well, and some thyme. We're gonna put about half a teaspoon of ginger that was there, and half a teaspoon of minced garlic as well. Then we're gonna use our hands to rub this down and massage these flavors into it. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna come back and show you what it would look like after I'm done massaging. So here we have the fish, guys, that I've seasoned. I'm only gonna let it soak for half an hour because, as you know, fish has a thinner membrane, so it doesn't take very long to soak in this fish. Plus it's gonna get the seasoning really fast, so I'm just gonna let this soak in and I'll be back to season some flour. By the way, I'm gonna fry it first and then I'm gonna be doing something else with it. So I'm gonna prepare the flour in order to fry this. So like I'd mentioned, the fish only needed about 20 minutes. However, mine's got a chance to soak for an hour and a half. The longer the better, but as far as need, it only needs at least 20 minutes to half an hour to soak in with strong seasonings. So here I have 2 cups of flour. To that, I'm going to add half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of smoked paprika, half a teaspoon of chicken stock, chicken base, same thing. Sorry, 1 tablespoon, I didn't mean half. Onion powder, half a teaspoon. We're going in with a touch of salt, half a teaspoon, and some parsley flakes, half a teaspoon. So after adding those seasonings, I usually use a whisk. And I go in and I just mix it to incorporate everything, just to make sure all the seasonings is going through the flour nicely. I'm going to be treating my fish like how I do my chicken. I'm going to make a water bath for it, and then I'm going to fry it and double batter it. Right after you mix your flour and your seasonings ready for your fish and you're about to start that process, I suggest you turn your stove on. You're gonna put it on a medium-high fire, and you're gonna put about 2 cups of oil into that pot to heat up. So we're also gonna be prepping some other ingredients on the side, which would include half of a yellow pepper, half of a red, half of an orange. I have a cup of mixed vegetables frozen here, uncooked. I have a carrot. I'm gonna julienne that. I'm gonna mince these onions, and I'm going to come back and show you. So I came back with the vegetables that were cut. My onions were sliced, carrots sliced, peppers 3 kinds sliced. I found a half of a tomato and I cut it in half. It's frozen, but it'll be fine once it gets in the pot. And my cup of mixed veg. I also have my flour that's been seasoned, my bowl of water, just half a bowl of regular water, and a plate for after the battering of the fish. So the first step would be to take your fish, take it right here. We're gonna take it right into the flour. And we're gonna cover it completely, just like we do when we do chicken. Cover it all the way. And then we're gonna go into the water bath. Once it's fully covered, it's going straight into a water bath real quick. And right after the water bath, as it's still sticky, you put it back in your flour. And you're gonna cover that all the way again. That's because you're trying to get a crispy batter on your skin. So that's the way you accomplish getting that. So yeah, you just make sure it's fully covered again with flour. And then once it's battered all the way again, you place it on this plate over here so it can wait to be fried. Yeah. So y'all, my oil is super hot at this point, and my fish has been double battered as you saw. We're not gonna overcrowd it. We're gonna do 4 and 4 because I have 8 pieces, so we're gonna do 4 right now. Mind you, once you place the fish in the oil, you don't remove it, you don't move it, you don't touch it for at least 5 minutes, just so that it doesn't, the batter doesn't come off of it. So the fish have been fried. Set a 10-minute timer since I put them in, and it's been frying for 6 minutes undisturbed on one side. So now I'm just gonna interrupt it by flipping it over on the other side for the remaining 4 minutes. So here we go. I'm just going to be removing this out of the oil because it's been 10 minutes of frying and it's good to go. As you can see, we got a nice golden color, nice crisp coating. So I just let it drip out first, and then I place it in this bowl where I have some greaseproof paper, and repeat till all your fish is out of the oil. Now remember this sauce that your fish was seasoned in, so you're not going to be throwing this out either. You're actually going to be adding a bit of water to this eventually, and you're going to be adding it to the next stage of the fish that we're going to be doing. So we're not going to throw this away just because we're going to be using it to season back an entire dish. Now your stove is really low now. You're going to go in with a scoop and probably a 2-cup measurement, and you're going to scoop out as much of this oil as you can into this 2-cup container. So as you can see here, based on I took out most of the oil, there's about 4 tablespoons of oil in there with all the dreggings, and that's okay that it has dreggings. You're going to be taking your mixed vegetables and you're going to be pouring that oil into there. And then you're going to give that a stir to make sure everything's incorporated nicely into the pot. So we just added it to the oil, and remember we turned our fire down to very low, so we're going to turn it back to medium high. We're also going to be adding our mixed vegetables to that, and we're going to give that a stir to incorporate everything into this pot. So you remember the seasoning that I had where the fish initially was soaking? I'm gonna take 1 cup of water, and I'm gonna just be slowly going around that bowl to incorporate that seasoning. The water is hot, by the way, which helps when it gets to the pot. So I'm just gonna stir this around so it rinses out all the seasoning, and then we're gonna add the seasoning to our seasoning in the pot. So yeah, nothing is to be wasted. So like we said, we just rinsed out all the seasoning that was in here, and we're gonna add that to this pot right now. Let that have a mix. It's a good thing the water was hot because then it'll take a while for this to heat up. You can turn the volume up to medium high, and we're gonna be seasoning these vegetables now with the sauce seasoning. So for seasoning, we're gonna be adding 4 things to this. We're gonna be using some Miss Diane's honey garlic barbecue sauce. We're gonna be using some ketchup. We're gonna be using some chicken base, and we're also gonna be using some white sugar. So a tablespoon of this, a tablespoon here, a tablespoon here, and a tablespoon here. And and we'll start there and test the flavor and see what else needs to be adjusted. So here I just added those 4 ingredients to it, the barbecue sauce, the ketchup, the sugar, and the chicken base. So now we're going to integrate those flavors into what we have going here right now. I have a 10-minute timer on these veggies. It's only been 5 minutes so far. And we're going to taste the sauce to see if it needs anything else. And if it doesn't, we're going to proceed with the fish going into here next. So we're going to be turning our fire down to medium low. It's on medium high right now, so we're going to go to medium low. And it's been going now for 7 minutes. The fish is already cooked, so all we're going to do is we're going to add our fish to this and make sure it gets drenched, and then we're going to be quickly locking the stove off. So here we go. You add your fried fish to it, and then after you add your fish and you cover it. So we've added all our fish to the pot now. So now that it's added and I've drenched it and the fire is on, we're gonna we don't want our fish to break down at all. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna turn our stove off. And this fish is done cooking. So here we have some stewed fish. And this is ready to be served right now.